you don't have much of overall goodies, I would say, because you don't have a lot of taxes going to be involved, because most of the taxes has been introduced or expanded last year, or I would say 2025. So you would not have much in 2026. So obviously there won't be much goodies also. As I said, the GE is not upcoming year, so you would not have much stuff. But nevertheless, we will just run through what are the gist of this budget itself, basically for how it's going to impact the individuals and the small time business owners. All right. So as I said, the session is going to be only 1 to 1.5 hours, so you won't have much stuff. Okay, because the entire budget presentation was done, for almost 3 hours. So here I'm just focusing on individuals and the small and medium entrepreneurs. All right. So let me just comment. So my name is Maya, and I'm a HRD accredited trainer and a managing partner Maya and Co. And I also have my training arm called D Speakers Lab, where I conduct trainings on soft skills and also accounting, technical accounting skills. All right. So obviously, I've been in the corporate world and professional accounting experience for 20 years, at least over 2 decades. All right. So that's pretty much overview on me. And before I go or dive into the budget itself, I thought of just sharing with you some so-called community information, or some so-called assistance to the community, so that I want to make you aware in Malaysia there are a lot of bogus accountants. All right. So just because you have watched YouTube or you have just read, you can't be an accountant. Okay. So the important thing here is you need to have that particular qualification, or first of all, if you are an accountant, you need to have a so-called the qualification itself. All right. So let me just run through this. Basically, what will happen here is let me just search. Okay, here you go. So I will share this link with you all. Okay, so over the chat box. Okay, so if you go to the chat box here, okay, and you click on the link. Let's say you want to search someone, if that person is an accountant or not. You can search. Okay, MIA, the governing body of the accountants, they have actually come out with this page, and you can just search for that person. Is he a legitimate accountant or not? So let's say his nickname is Chong. Okay, or his short name is Chong. You just click his name here, and then over here you just put member name. A short name would do. Okay, the system or the website would be able to check for the name. So over here, if you can see the name that you want to see, okay, you will be able to see. So CA means chartered accountant, so it means he's an accountant. Okay, so certified by the Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So he's fine with that. So he is an accountant, okay, by right. So he's not a bogus accountant. So as long the names are here, they are fine. The next thing is to know whether is it a practicing accountant or a commercial accountant. Okay, there's two things here. Practicing accountants means basically he has his own accounting firm, or he is a partner of an accounting firm, a big four accounting firm, or all the multinational accounting firms. Okay, that's what you call PC holder, or practicing so-called certificate holder. That's PC means practicing certificate. Okay, so if it says yes, it means he's either owning an accounting firm, a partner of accounting firm, or he is a partner of another accounting firm. Okay, that is one. If no means, it means he's a commercial accountant, which means he is working in a normal company, as a CFO, finance manager, finance director, or something like that. Okay, so that's what it called a commercial accountant. So when people say you are a chartered accountant, you must get to know whether is he a practicing accountant or is he just a normal commercial accountant. All right. So nevertheless, this link would be useful for you. So please, I would always advise you to use this link. All right. So let me just move back to the so-called the slides. Right. So that's something that the community information I want to give. Just a recap on the budget 2025 status. Obviously the sugar tax was introduced, and 45 cents for every 500 ml. Okay, so obviously when you go to supermarkets and stuff, you will see all that canned juice or packet drinks, all the prices has been increased, okay, indirectly. Unless it's a zero sugar drink, then you would not see any price increase there. Next is, of course, the petrol subsidy, price subsidy, privatization. As you can see, as long you're a Malaysian citizen with valid driving license, you are entitled at the price of one ringgit 99 cents for 300 liters. All right, so that's a rationalization that they have made. And of course, for SST, the sales and service tax, it's a more wider scope, so more on luxury goods, and also services, and also vegetables, imported vegetables and imported fruits. Okay, so that's why things like avocado, grapefruit, strawberry, okay, imported strawberry, blueberry, and all that. So you will see SST being imposed on that, all the imported fruits. And the next thing is, of course, on the dividend tax. Okay, so as long your dividend income, just the solid dividend income, is more than 100,000 ringgit, you will have a 2% interest, or a 2% tax, okay, on the difference between the 100K and the actual amount that you receive. So let's say you receive 110,000, your tax of 2% is only on the 10,000. Okay, not on the entire 110,000, it's only on the 10,000. So do take note of that. So don't confuse. So the first 100K you are exempted. Is just beyond 100K, whatever amount is that, you'll be taxed for the 2%. Okay, so that is one. And next is, of course, the minimum wage has been increased to 1,500 ringgit. So literally, you're a blue collar worker, then you will be earning that. Okay, or a white collar worker, sorry. And the next thing is on the EPF of foreign workers here. Initially, if you're a factory worker, you're in a manufacturing line and all that, you would not be entitled for EPF. But now every foreigners who are with a valid work permit in Malaysia, you would need to contribute. The employee need to contribute 2%, and the employee will be also contributing 2%. So end of the day, the employee will be receiving 4%. Okay, so that is part of the so-called the gist of 2025 status. All right, so let's move on to the 2026 status. Okay, so 2026 in general, the GDP is expected to increase between 4 to 4.5%. Of course, in 2025, they expected 4 to 4.8%. Of course, the major reason is because of the geopolitical situations, and because of the US tariff and all that. So that's where they reduced the range, but they didn't reduce the so-called the floor, so-called the percentage. Okay, so the 4% still remain as the floor, and as a ceiling, it just reduced a bit of 4.5. And on the budget amount itself, for 2026, it is increased from 452 to 470 billion. So the total expenditure, operational expenditure plus capital expenditure, is totally 470 billion. That is the budget. So it has been increasing year by year. All right. And but nevertheless, the deficit has reduced. Last year was 3.8, this year is only 3.5. So obviously, how to reduce this deficit? Obviously, the government or the Ministry of Finance need to look for alternative ways, either to increase the trade, to try to reduce wherever the cost that they can, cut the cost, and try to see various other revenues that they can make. All right, that's one. And the expected collection from the federal government would be 343 billion, better than last year, or 2025, which is 334 billion. Okay, and the other one is, of course, Microsoft and Google, the two tech giants, are going to build the data center in Selangor. Okay, and for those of you who are staying along Guthrie Highway, you would know that Google is actually building the data center over there. All right, so that is in general. So let's deep dive into the detailed portion. So for motor vehicle, this is something for those who wanted or usually buys a motor vehicle from Langkawi. As you know, Langkawi is a tax-free land, and whatever things that you buy is duty-free. All right. So what happened here was, previously whatever you buy is everything duty-free. Now, motor vehicle which values more than 300,000 is subject to sales tax. Okay, so that is from 1st January 2027. So if anyone intend to buy any expensive motor vehicles, please buy it within this year, within the next 5 or 6 weeks. Okay, this the major reason from my opinion is because as the PMX said, he's targeting mainly on the Mahakaya, okay, the super rich team. So he's trying to target those people and get them to pay the tax. All right. So if you are just buying a normal Mercedes Benz from London or US and or Germany, whatever imported cars, a normal Mercedes Benz, BMW and stuff, obviously it will cost you less than 300K or even less than 200K. Okay, and the thing is that people who wish to buy a Rolls Royce and Bentley and all that, okay, now you are in trouble, or you are in the radar. I would say, not to say trouble, in the radar of paying the sales tax. Okay, so that is one. And the next thing here is on the cars which are more than 20 years old, because in Malaysia they're trying to scrap off the old vehicles. Obviously, one is for the environment purpose, okay, because they want to go zero carbon and all that, or zero net carbon. Okay, so that one way is to dispose of all the old vehicles. In Singapore, the limit for a car is actually 10 plus 5. Okay, they give option of 5, so maximum is 15. But in Malaysia now they have make it 20. So if it's more than 20, you can go back to Puspacom or JPJ. They haven't come out with the details yet, and you can get back the grant. So basically, generally more than 20 years, if it's not a classic car, then obviously there's no value for the car yet. Right. And also, you just dispose the vehicle and get a new vehicle, and you get a grant of 4K. Right. So that is one. Going to the airport or the air part here, or the air transport. Okay, 600 acre in Sepang has been will be developed as Selangor Aero Park. Is basically the expansion on the air transportation field. And the next crucial point here is, let's say if you are flying to Indonesia, okay, but and you are coming from Kota Baru, okay, so literally you will take Air Asia. Okay, Air Asia, you come to KLIA 2. And imagine if you're taking Garuda Airlines. So you come to KLIA 2, you have to basically literally collect all your luggages, because it's a domestic flight. Then you have to go to KLIA 1 and check in again, and, so-called fly from Garuda, through Garuda to Indonesia. Okay, so what happens here is, first thing, of course, you have to check in. There's a double check in there. The second part here is, you would need to take the train. Okay, of course you can take Grab also. That's fine. But the thing is that there's a trouble there of that the transit timing. Okay, so obviously the train would not take much of your time, so it's fine. But now what they are planning is to have the intra-terminal transfer. Okay, so that from one terminal you can go to the other terminal. Okay, KLIA 1 to KLIA 2, or KLIA 2 to KLIA 1. Okay, this is similar to Changi Airport also, where within Changi Airport you can take the internal train and you can go within the terminal. Okay, so you don't really need to take out your luggages and check in again and all that. You don't need to do that. You can do it all one shot. You just check in one shot, and you are done. Okay, so that's the part which they have initiated. The next thing here is on people who are staying in Ipoh. Your airport, of course, is a domestic airport, but it will be expanded. Okay, so that is actually to upgrade it to be an international airport in future. Okay, so that's why the expansion is happening now. Same thing. Actually, the Ipoh has been completed. The thing ongoing now is the one in Kota Baru, which is the Sultan Ismail Petra Airport. That actually has started last year itself, but it's still ongoing. Okay, hopefully they can finish it by next year. The next part is on the border access. Okay, RTS. RTS is basically a train which is going to transport people from JB to Singapore. Obviously, now if you are going via the road, you will definitely stuck in the traffic. Okay, especially at the border or the immigration, right? Some even stuck for 1.5 hour, 2 hours, and all that. So, to eliminate this, that's why they're going to come up with this RTS, and it's going to be fully in operation 2027. They already started building it since last year. Okay, and it's already ongoing, and they expect it to complete by end of next year, which means from 1st January it will be expect to carry at least 10K passengers every hour, 10,000 passengers. Okay, so that will ease people from JB to go to work to Singapore. So that is one. And next is, of course, people in Rantau Panjang. Okay, Rantau Panjang is the one bordering Sungai Golo, which is the Thailand border, and it's actually connecting to Kota Baru, Kubang Crane, and all that. So the work on it used to be one-way lane, and you have a one car coming in, going out, and all that. So now they are making it into four-way lane. So there's two lanes to go, two lanes to come. So it is actually to ease the traffic and to encourage people to travel both the ways from Golo to Kelantan and Kelantan to Golo and all that. So to pass the border and all that. So increase the tourism. And next is, of course, focusing on Kelantan also, Pasir Mas to Rantau Panjang, the railway line to be enhanced and to be upgraded. That is one. And of course, for the new roads to be built in Sabah, Kalabakan, and Simangiris, Indonesia. These are the borders. Okay, so the new road to be built to enable people to travel, the tourism to move on to become better, I would say. All right, so that is one. And continuing with the train system for KTM, okay, they are upgrading the KTM between Bandar Tasik Selatan to Seremban and also to Port Klang, okay, to be completed by 2029. Okay, so this just upgrade because people are already complaining. So that is one thing. So you need people when people complain KTM is already slow, train is already slow and all that. So that's why they prefer that. So-called the train to be upgraded, and it be done by end of 2029, so it takes some time. And the next is LRT, the Kelana Jaya line, to be upgraded with 26 new train units. So the current train units will be still there, but it will be upgraded. Okay, so that is one thing for you to take note. And the next part here is for LRT Penang, the groundbreaking has been done by our PMX, and the construction has started. So of course, it will take another 3 years at least to complete. Okay, so they are expecting it to complete by end of 2028. At least 2029 they can start, but let's see. It's a long term project. And the next part is on the DRT. Okay, DRT is the vans where it's going to transport people from one location, literally from the housing area to the main transport terminal, either bus station or train station and all that. Okay, or LRT station, MRT station, and all that. So it has already started in certain places in Klang Valley, basically in KL, some places in Shah Alam, some places of Subang Jaya and PJ. So they're going to enhance the routes and increase the number of vans. And apart from that, you're going to also have 30 new buses, Prasarana, which is rapid KL buses, okay, going on within KL. Okay, that's one. So continuing with the transportation too, as you can see, PMX is focusing more a lot on transportation, especially on land transportations. Okay, and the mile rail pass for KTM and DMU shuttle, okay, for OKU has been expanded for kids below 6 years old. Okay, previously it was only for people above 6 years old. So then what they did, because there are a lot of kids also with autism and all that, so they thought, let's just expand it thoroughly. So people who are below 6 years old also entitled for that. And ETS to JB. So don't confuse with RTN and ETS. Okay, RTS is different. RTS is from JB to Singapore, Singapore to JB, but ETS is from KL Central to JB Central. Okay, so where your travel time will be between 3.5 to 4 hours. That's expected travel time, and which will be completing by end of this year. Okay, so it will commence early next year. Okay, at the same time, LRT 3, if you can see, it's supposed to start from Bandar Utama until Klang, or towards Bukit Tinggi, that area. Okay, or going towards Banting area. So I think the last station is Juan Setia. I think that's the last station. So this as per Anthony Loke, he also updated us yesterday, our transport minister, that things will commence by 31st December. Okay, it will commence. Okay, and the next thing is ECRL. Okay, the first phase is going to be completed by end of 2026, which is by end of next year from Kota Baru to Gombak. Okay, so that is which means you can uh, ease your travel, especially towards East Coast. Okay, so that is one part of it. Okay, done with the land transportation. Now we focus on the taxi drivers. So the taxi drivers, basically, if you are going to buy Proton or Perodua as your new vehicle for taxi or rental car, it also includes rental car. Okay, and 100% road tax exemption. Okay, and also on the excise duty. So obviously your car value is a bit more cheaper. At the same time, your overall expenditure on the car will also be slightly cheaper because there's road tax exemption. Okay, and of course, 10 million allocation for training courses and allowances for licensed taxi drivers for upscaling purposes. So this one you can check it out with the JPJ when in future or even from next year onwards. All right, this only specific for taxi drivers. Okay, so as long you have the license, the public vehicle license, then you can go for the training. Moving on to the home buyers, okay, stamp duty exemption for transfer of ownership. So let's say if you're transferring ownership for the first time buyers up to 500K, where it's until 31st December 2027. So 2026 plus 2027, it is exempted, okay, on the stamp duty for transfer of the ownership. Or literally, you're selling the house to someone and the house value is 500K and below, you get your exemption. Okay, so that is one. Because otherwise, literally, for this is to boost the real estate in outside Klang Valley itself. Of course, in Klang Valley, if you want to buy a landed property, it's definitely more than 500,000. Okay, but if you go further outskirt of Klang Valley or even other states, buying landed property, you can still buy within 500K. So especially second-hand property. Okay, so you can get exemption on the stamp duty exemptions. Okay, so that is one. And the next thing is stamp duty 4 to 8% for transfer and purchase of property for foreigners. Okay, this is for foreigners who are non-PR. If you're PR, you're safe. This is especially for companies because they are targeting also on the companies because again, PMX always say Mahakaya, Mahakaya, right? So Mahakaya also inclusive of these foreigners who is in the high income earner bracket, right? So for them, it's stamp duty of 4 to 8% on the transfer or the purchase of property. That's one, and modification of changes on the commercial building to residential building. Okay, so this is to enhance because if you see some places in Klang Valley, lot of shop lots are being defunct, unused, vacant. It's also because some offices are moving into, hybrid mode, remote mode, and all that. And certain buildings are so-called they have reduced because there's competition for buildings. So there are a lot of supply there. So the demand is becoming lesser. So what our prime minister decided, okay, let's convert this some of the shop lots to be residential. They call it rumah kedai, right? So some rumah kedai you can actually stay there. Okay, so there will be 10% tax deduction from the expense incurred. Okay, on the conversion and modification. Okay, so limited to 10 million. Of course, that's quite a big amount actually, if you ask me. All right, so that is one. And okay, some of you asked me where can I get the script of the budget. Okay, let me also post that into the chat box. Okay, this is the so-called the script which our prime minister read. This is the English version from the same website. You can also get the Malay version also. Okay, so we are done with the rail transport system. We are done with the taxi drivers. We are done with the home buyers. So let's move on the greenery part a bit. Okay, so the current position in 2025, they were given tax relief up to 2,500 for installation, rental, purchase of equipment, and subscription of electrical vehicle EV, right? Okay, and if you purchase food waste compost machine for household use, where you can claim within 2025 to 2027. That's the range, but you can only claim once. Okay, so The relief is 2,500, either for rental, purchase, installation of EV, or food waste compost machine. Okay, that is one. Now they have just tweaked it, I would say. So they have included another element called purchase of CCTV for households. If you're a normal landed property or a double story, single story owner, okay, you can buy CCTV and food waste grinding machine. Okay, so this is basically to enhance, security and also sustainability. So generally, what you will do, let's say you at home you cook, you have excess food, you will literally throw it away. That's it. But now they are trying to reduce that by encouraging us to buy that food waste grinding machine. This has been introduced in Europe, especially Western Europe, where they grind it, they make it like a soil to assist the agricultural portion, or they try to convert it to, seafood, animal food, okay, especially for the fish and bird and stuff and all that. So this part of it just to reuse and stuff like that. Okay, so that is part of it. But again, all these CCTV and food waste grinding machine, 2,500 still, but you can only claim it once. Although it's up to 2027, but you can only claim it once. Okay, so if you buy in 2026, you can claim it in 2026. All right, so that's part of it. And then moving into the medical part, okay, there'll be new additional hospitals and hospital blocks will be built. Okay, example, cancer center in a northern region in Kedah. Okay, that is one. Current cancer center is in Putrajaya, so there will be one in Kedah also. There'll be another additional block in Hospital Pontian. Obviously, the hospital was already there in Pontian and Sungai Buloh and Banting. They're going to just build additional blocks to accommodate the crowd and the patient, the need of the patient. Okay, that's one. And next is the advanced surgical blocks. Again, these additional blocks in USM, Kubang Krian. All right, that's one. This mainly to support the university students there. And next one is Heart Center, okay, in Queen Elizabeth II Hospital, which is basically in Kota Kinabalu. And 13 new government clinics will be focused, especially in Machang, Teluk Kemang, Muka, and Abawan. All these are rural areas, so they're going to set up 13 new government clinics. And again, cancer center in Kuching and Hospital Sultan Amina. All right. So two more new cancer centers. All right. One in Kuching, one in Sultan Amina is actually in JB. All right. So that is one. Continuing with the medical also, contribution to hospital welfare at private hospital will qualify for tax deduction. Previously, it was only for government hospitals. When you contribute, it's allowed for tax deduction. But now, even if you contribute to private hospitals, you will be also qualifying for tax deduction. But make sure it's for contribution to hospital welfare fund, nothing else. Make sure it's for welfare fund. So if you go to Pantai, KPJ, DMC, and all that, they will have some welfare fund. All that you can check it out at the reception counter, and you can contribute that. You get your tax deduction. Okay, so now they have expanded to private hospitals too. Okay, and the next one is doctors' fees has been increased between 10 to 80 ringgit. Previously, it was only 10 to 35 ringgit. Okay, this is the doctor's fee, especially when you go to clinic. When they issue you the bill, you can see the doctor's fee there. Okay, so that is part of it. Next one is the on-call allowance has been increased to RM 350. Previously, it was only 100 250. So some welfare has been taken care for the doctors. All right. Okay, done with the medical part. Now we move on to the gig workers and housewife. Government to cover 70% of the SOCSO contribution for the first timers, and following year will be 50% contribution. This is for the gig workers. Okay, and Saraan Plus incentive will be given up to 600 ringgit per year, or 6,000 per lifetime. So there's a cap there of 6,000. Okay, this for Saraan Plus. Okay, and for formal workers and self-employed, Saraan is given up to 500 per year, and also 5,000 per lifetime. Okay, literally per year 500 means 10 years 5,000. So literally they are just telling you we will only take care of you for that 10 years. So after that you have to either develop your business, okay, or do go back to a normal employment rather than going into self-employment. Okay, that's one. And the next one is graduates who need to be transferred to different state and locality will be received incentive of 1,000 from per peso. Okay, so this is something good because we want to encourage graduates to go to various states because most of the graduates, once they graduate, they come back to KL or come back to Klang Valley because that's where the job opportunities are there. But now government is trying to encourage people to go to different locality, different states to build the human capital over there. So that's where they will give this kind of incentive. So for graduates, if you're going to graduate next year, this is a good time. Okay. And I sorry, this for housewife, age limit has been increased to 60 years old. Okay, so this for the housewife who are, you know, literally don't have EPF contribution, the ISURI would be there. Okay. Now moving on to the education part, 150 ringgit per student as school assistance through the school to parents. So this one, now they are giving 100 ringgit. Moving forward, they'll give 150 ringgit. So next year, your school teacher will be either giving it to you directly or maybe putting into your touch and go account and stuff. So just wait for the announcement from the school teacher or the guru Busa itself. Okay, and double deduction for companies whom spend on scholarship or for degree and professional program for needy students. Okay, so previously it was allowable expense. Now they make it double deduction, and they also include professional programs, so ACCA, CP Australia, or some uh, law program and engineering program and all that. So as long as professional program, but the professional bodies, it's entitled for the double deduction. Okay, it's for the company who's sponsoring the needy student. This is basically the B40 student or the PMX always say miskin tega, right? So those kind of people. Okay, so don't go and sponsor your own stuff and then you claim double deduction. No, that's not allowed. Okay. And then next one is KWSP and UM is to build additional 1,000 unit of residency for the students. So as you know, currently UM, if you were to stay in UM, generally first year you will be able to stay. Second year onwards is a bit difficult. You need to be active and all that. So there's challenge there. So most of the students, even during my batch, they try to rent out some apartments, condominiums outside the campus, and they stay there. But now with this 1,000 units, the average, let's say, one unit can accommodate, let's say, 3 students. There will be 3,000 students. So yeah, there's more chances for the students to stay in the hostel or within the campus itself. And next, 120 million has been allocated for 5.8 K students or 5,800 students, where they get free education at the government universities, okay, through PTPTN. So you get basically not a loan, but it's literally the fees is being paid by PTPTN. Okay, so for 5,800 students, these are the again the B40 students. Okay, so that's one thing. So as long if you're eligible, your student or your kids are eligible, then go ahead. Okay, you can check it out with PTPTN also. That continuing with the so-called education, first class degree holders, you are exempted from the PTPTN repayment. Let it to be government universities, private universities, as long as you're a first class degree holder, you are exempted. So that is good. You see, literally PTPTN is where during your education time when you are in campus, you don't pay any of the interest or any of the loan repayment. You only start paying it once you start working, which is after 1 or 2 years from your graduation. So now, imagine if the government is giving you the loan, PTPTN is giving you the loan, and you get first class honors, and you are exempted. Okay, just go to PTPTN office, submit your script and stuff like that, and you are exempted. Okay, the so that's something good which PMX did. Okay, this is to encourage more students to study hard and yeah, so you can enjoy the perks from the government. On the other side, if you fail to prepay, okay, I always encourage to pay because your payment will make another student to study, to get an opportunity to study. Okay, so that is one thing. So your passports will be blocked if you didn't pay. Okay, then that's one thing. Okay, and the next thing, 1,500 placements for 10 courses in 5 research universities. advantage for STPM students. Okay, research universities basically it's UPM, USM, UKM, and UTM. These are the premier universities, or the one of the older universities, I would say. So these are the five research universities. Okay. The next, okay, from education we jump into farmers. You want to buy fertilizer, go. You can go ahead. There's an increase in fertilizer incentive, 160 ringgit, and insecticide. They call it racun serangga, right? 300 ringgit. Okay, for per hectare per season. So one season, if you have 10 hectares, your incentive for insecticides would be 3,000. Then for incentive for fertilizer is 1,600. Okay, that is if you have 10 hectares. Okay, so but it's only per season. So per season means some will say it's once a year, some will say twice a year. It depends on the types of plantations. So this one, it's governed by the Ministry of Agriculture. So the incentive is given by them. So better check it out with them, more guidelines by them. Okay. Now for fishermen, RON 95, of course, it's not applicable here. It's more on diesel. Diesel subsidized rate, 1 ringgit 65 cents, which is very, very, cheap, I would say. Okay. The reason is because your market rate, okay, for diesel, okay, is around 300, 3 ringgit. Okay. So the thing here is, 3 ringgit 7 cents. So when you have 3 ringgit 7 cents, your subsidized rate is 1 ringgit 65 cents. So which is close to 45 or 40% lesser. And there's additional allowance of 300 ringgit per month. So yeah, you can utilize that. That is one of it. So the next one is going to the youth. Previously, the youth age category used to be below 40. Okay, then they said let's reduce it to below 30. Okay, but there were no floor range and stuff. So some say above 12, some say above 18. So now they have fixed it. It's 15 to 30 years old. That's the youth age. And the PLKN, which is the national training, okay, program latihan kipan negara, is on targeted manner. Not going to start full-fledged. They're going to start on targeted manner in 2026 and full-fledged in 2027. Okay, so if you are at the age of 18 or SPM lever, so yeah, just get ready. And special aid for government retirees. You are a government staff, you are a retired government staff, you will get 250 ringgit special aid. And for teachers, you will get 500 ringgit. So that's part of it. That's some special aid for the government staff. And employing senior citizens. Okay, as you know, even our HR minister said that we're going to be an aging nation in future. Okay, so one is of course because of decline in the birth rate and more people in the workforce and all that. So this is to encourage those who can still work beyond 60 years old, who are still fit to work. uh, the company can still employ them. They will be getting deduction, okay, double deduction from year assessment 2026 till year assessment 2030 for 5 years. Okay, it is extended for 5 years, and again, it's full time basis, not part time. So it's full time. Full time here means, as per the Employment Act, it should be 45 hours, unless the company policy is 40 hours and stuff like that. And then the next one is gross salary should not go beyond 4,000 ringgit. So it should be within 4,000 ringgit. So if it's 3,000 or 3,005, that's good enough. Not related to employer, because some employers, what will happen is they will simply appoint their parents, their grandparents, and get a double deduction. No, you can't do that. Okay, so take note, it shouldn't be blood relations there. Okay, and just say you are the owner of the company, you are the founder of the company, and you're already post 60 years old, and you can't claim double deduction because it cannot be the same person. Employee and employee cannot be the same person. Okay, so you have to take note, it should be independent people. So other deductions here, special relief on for 1,000 ringgit on entrance fees. Okay, if you can recall, in the year 2020 to 2022, there were so-called uh, relief for people who stay in hotel, okay, or Airbnb. This is to enhance tourism, and especially that time because of lockdown, people were not traveling much. To encourage that, the government gave 1,000 ringgit relief for people who were going to stay in hotel or Airbnb. Okay, but now what they did was they tweaked it. The 1,000 ringgit remained, but it's actually on the entrance fees or entrance tickets by I mean, when you purchase those entrance tickets from the tourism spots. Okay, example, Legoland, Sunwheel Lagoon, okay, Zoo Negara, Museum Negara. All these are tourist spots which is approved by Ministry of Tourism and Arts and Culture. Okay, apart from that, there's also concerts, culture program which is approved by Minister of Tourism and Arts and Culture. It's, in short, they call it MOTAC, MOTAC. So all these tickets, entrance tickets, you can get relief of 1,000 ringgit, only 1,000 ringgit. Okay, that's it. Okay, so that is part of it. And the next is cash donation to Malaysian Museum Trust will also receive tax deduction equivalent to the amount donated, both corporate and individual. Okay, cash donation must be is cash. Of course, e-money also allowed, but it has to be cash. Okay, and next is 50% additional tax deduction on training of AI and cybersecurity for SME. So SME generally, you will send training, you will get deduction. That is tax allowable deduction. But now it's not double deduction. Is, I can say, 1.5. Okay, but the program must be approved by NAICI. Okay, and the next part here is individual tax relief for kindergarten and childcare, fee of 3K. Okay, this has been there. The 3K has been there, but it was only for kids 6 years and below. Now it has been expanded till 12 years old. It's because, again, some companies are going back to 100% physical. So this actually makes a lot of parents to send their kids to childcare center, okay, or they call it transit centers and all that. So uh, you are now allowed to claim up to 3,000 ringgit for kids, which is 12 years old and below. Okay, so that is one. The next part here is on the medical expenses for children, which is for a disabled kid. Okay, it used to be 6K, now it has been increased to 10K. And then life insurance initially was only for the individual. Now it has been expanded to spouse and kids. Okay, and double deduction for OKU staff has been expanded to care worker, which has been registered under the KWKM. Okay, this is the Ministry of Women and Family Development. Okay, so there's double deduction for OKU staff. Okay, for care worker also. So previously it was only for desk bound job, but now they expanded to care worker also. Right. And apart from that, tax incentive on scholarship. Okay, so for scholarships, masters and doctorate is not allowed, but technical and vocational skills training is allowed. At the same time, qualified professional programs like ACCA, CP Australia, and all that is allowed. And the monthly income of the parents cannot be more than 15,000 per month. This is to cover basically not only B40 but also M40. Okay, and it has been extended for next 5 years. Years has been 2026 to 2030. Okay, the next portion here is on the government loan. So the BSN has approved a micro loan amounting to 250 million to 7,200 entrepreneurs. So just go to BSN, check it out. This is actually starting from next year, right? And the current government loan and guarantee has been increased to 50 billion. So there are more loans, I would say, okay, available, right? So The next one is the stamp duty exemption. Okay, stamp duty exemption, if you're contracted staff salary, right? Uh, it has been increased from 300 ringgit to 3,000 ringgit from 1st January 2026. Your salary amount is below 3K, no stamp duty is required. Okay, obviously it has to be stamped, but it is no payment is required. At the same time, for exemption on the insurance policy and takaful for small amount by individual and SME has been extended until 2028. Okay, so that's part of it. Okay, here is some not good news. Tobacco, the price is has been increased. Okay, just a few weeks ago, uh, and it includes cigarettes by 2 cents, cigars, and cheroots, and the others has been 40 ringgit per kilogram, and heated tobacco increased by 20 ringgit per kilogram. All right. So obviously this is not a good news. Another one is, of course, excise duty for alcohol has been increased by 10%. So that's part of it. So if you drink wine or beer and stuff, everything has been increased. Okay. And apart from that, this has lapsed the toll of 50% for 2 days in conjunction with Diwali. Okay, the eve of Diwali and 2 days before Diwali, there were toll, discounts 50%. And apart from that, another's harem 100 ringgit. As you know, last August, okay, the government announced 100 ringgit, which was given through your IC, which now you can use it at most of the supermarkets and mini markets and all that. So, of course, it will lapse by 31st December or on 31st December. Okay. The thing is that they will be giving or distributing another 100 ringgit, which is by mid February. That's what the Prime Minister said, mid February. And this is to actually cater for the Chinese New Year celebration and also the starting of Ramadan month. Okay. So as long you are 18 years old, by next year, mid next year, February, you'll be entitled for that. All right. And some ask me, what if I'm 18 years old in the month of February, March or April? You will be getting it once you reach your birth date. Okay, that is one of it. Okay, so the 100 ringgit, when will it lapse? They have yet to come out with the detail yet. Once I get the detail, I'll also put it on my YouTube channel. All right. So for now, it's still silent. We will only receive it mid-February. Even the date has not been firmed, but they say mid-February, which will be usually 14 or 15. Right. So yeah, we are almost towards the end of the segment. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to my session. Okay, so as I said, it's just an overview. I didn't go very detailed or depth to the session. The reason is because it will become more technical if I go very deep. So I thought if there is a need for additional clarification or special sessions, you may always engage me. I can come to your firm. We can conduct it through virtual. All right. So and we can further explore it. All right. But apart from that, as I said, I'm the managing partner of May and Co. And I do bookkeeping services, accounting consultancy. And let's say if your company doesn't have a proper accountant to do the financial statements, your annual report for the auditor, because some of the auditors, they don't do that. So if you need it, I can do that, and tax consulting, personal tax consulting, and all that can do it. Or internal audits, if you need to outsource your internal audit, yeah, feel free to let me know, or even special reviews. All right. So, and also including training, as I say, I'm a HRDF trainer. So if you need any trainings, especially now it's December, going to December. So this just to ensure your whatever contribution you have utilized it. All right. So that's pretty much about it. So thank you so much. Let me just say that I will do this. I started this last year. So what I thought, okay, let me just continue doing it. Last year I did it through Microsoft Teams. So only certain people managed to join because the recording was also not available, and not many people knew it. So I thought, okay, let me just make it available for everyone. That's why I thought of doing live stream through YouTube. All right. So again, it's just a community sharing. So for me, and it's a pleasure for me to share these things with you. Okay, so if anything that you need, you can always put it down in the comment box, and I can reach out to you, or you can always reach out to my email maya03@yahoo.com, and I can shall reach out to you again. Okay, so just to let you know, thank you so much for your time, and I shall see you in my next video. With that, take care. Have a good rest of the week.